Hello and welcome to another Let's Play. Me, GamerWolfSix of Echo. Before we start, if you're interested in playing this game, you can get it for free on itch.io. And if you want to support the people that made this game and are making other games, then you can go through Patreon, $3 a month. So, on the last Let's Play, we went to the house that we thought the note was in, and surprisingly, the note was there. It was in a box, tucked in the corner of a closet of a place that used to be Sydney's room, but is now a storage room. And yeah, they said it's more or less by the lake, in a certain spot. At which point, another thing that popped up was that the owner thought that, somebody snuck into their house a couple of days earlier. Interesting. Also, I did kind of learn on the internet and figure out, by going back earlier in the game, that we're pretty much near the end, because the game started on, I guess, a Monday? No, Saturday, because the next day was Monday when the game started stuff. And now it's Saturday. But yeah, then we snuck out to the lake, found the rock that had the etched markings / paintings that the Ram guy made. What's his name, Carl? Yes. And found a lunchbox with a note in it, and promptly destroyed the note and made our own note in there. So that, I don't know. Hopefully nothing would go towards us. So I'm feeling like there's several different things that could be happening here. One, Sydney did this, but he did some, maybe he's not dead. Or maybe did this all paranormally, I don't know. Again, then there's number 2, paranormal stuff happened. Then number 3, somebody did it. Number 4, we're actually the person that did it. And I don't know. We seem to be having a mental breakdown, kinda. Or at least not doing so well. But anyways, 2 minutes aside, let's start the game, because I want to see all the doings that transpiring. We arrive at the lake at around 10 in the morning. Julian had driven down over half an hour ago to pick us up before driving to Carl's house. Carl wasn't ready when we got there, and when he answered the door, his eyes were bleary and red. It took him a good 20 minutes to get ready, and all the while I struggled not to glare at him. It's weird. I've been friends with the Ram for almost my entire life. It's only now that I'm feeling real disgust for the person that he is. So many self-created problems. He keeps his head down most of the time, so he doesn't see me. He's still feeling sick too, so he opts to ride in the truck bed on the way down, and Jenna sits with him. I can't help but wonder what might happen if we have an accident. Well, if we have a decent accident, those two are effed. TJ sits next to me, and this time I'm sure to sit in the middle so that Julian is on my left and TJ is on my right, so I can cock block him. Feels better this way. Also, where's Flynn and Leo? We haven't seen Husbando for the entire game. It's like, I guess it was like he has a job, but still, it's like, come on. As the lake comes into view, I rest my paw on TJ's knee. Also, here's the thing. Like, I know Flynn's away from our group because he's an arse, but was Leo's gonna have, spend time with us? Because, yeah. Whatever. As light comes into view, I rest my paw on TJ's knee. He glances at me, then nods in acknowledgement. I give his thigh a squeeze, and then wait as we pull into the parking lot, going over the scenarios in my head for what might happen. Also, I was thinking it was like doing a flirting, but I guess maybe not, just an apprehension. Well, here we are. We don't say anything in response as we quietly get out of the truck. Jenna jumps out of the truck bed easily, but Carl struggles, and I imagine him falling straight out and face planting onto the asphalt. Jenna helps him though, and we're all walking down the trail towards the lake, single file. I walk right behind TJ though, so I can keep an eye on him and anyone else that might try and fuck with him. Wow, it's been 20 years since I've been down here. Yeah. There's a cool freshness in the air by the lake. I breathe it in and get hit with sweet memories of spending entire days down here. Swimming in the lake, building sand castles, poking at dead fish on the beach. There are plenty of dead fish. Haha. Pollution. As we start walking on the beach and approach the big boulder, I feel my heart start to hammer in my chest. I pick up speed to catch up to TJ. How are you feeling? I'm okay. You don't sound okay. I'm nervous. We all are. I actually feel like I'm going to throw up. TJ suddenly reaches out his paw and holds mine. I'm surprised. TJ's never done that before, and though I know it's probably due to the situation we're in, it still makes me feel warm inside. It's going to be okay. I know it. It's gonna be the end. TJ's voice breaks up on that last word. The end? The end of what exactly? TJ's guilt over Sydney? The mystery of what exactly happened to him? Of the world as we know it? I mean, maybe, because, this thing's gonna end. Yeah, that's probably it. Because I know that after this morning, things are never gonna be the same again. Just remember that if it's buried by that boulder, it's probably gone by now. I know, I've said it every time before, but the lake has flooded a few times since. I look up at the steep rocky bank on our right. Remember that spring that it went all the way up to the road? Yeah? Look back at our friends. Jenna's walking side by side with Carl, talking to him in a low voice. Julian is ahead of them, and he's looking directly at me. I look away. I'm just saying that even if it's there, it's probably water damage to the point that he won't be able to read it. We won't be able to read it. TJ says stay silent as we come up to the rock, sitting on the beach like it has since can't remember. Probably like it has since before the lake has even been created. TJ holds my paw as Julian, Jenna, and Carl stand next to us, 5 of us, in a sort of semicircle around the boulder. Well, here we are. Julian says the exact same thing he said in the parking lot, and I feel myself starting to get annoyed. Damn it, Julian, why are you always here? With your big old nose, and your surprisingly short antlers. What are you, a reindeer? Actually, I'm not sure how short those things would be. They do seem pretty short, though I'm not a deerologist. Need to reset my face. Oop, but I cling to Jay's paw, and that calms me down a little. So, if it's still here, it should be somewhere. Knowing Sydney, Jenna says the name carefully. He'd probably leave a marker of some kind. This could be hard to find. Remember that he said that it was by Carl's drawing. It'd probably be right next to that. Dunno, guys. The other ones were inside something. This is just on the beach. The sand changing all the time. Carl digs at the damp sand with his hoof. Does he have shoes? Probably not, I guess. His paws shoved into his pockets, eyes downcast. Everything okay, Carl? I say it sharply, not bothering to filter out the annoyance in my voice. He looks at me, a bit surprised. Huh? Yeah, I'm okay. I just feel sicker from the ride down. Smoke too much? Carl frowns. No, I just get sick sometimes when I'm stressed out. The weed makes me feel less sick, actually. I've got cancer, so yeah, it helps. Don't be a dick, man. I stop myself from asking what he's so stressed out about. Are you okay, Chase? I'm good. I shouldn't be drawing attention to myself right now. Meanwhile, Julian is walking around the boulder, looking for the drawing. TJ lets go of my paw, finally, and starts to walk around the boulder from the other side. Almost immediately, he points excitedly. Oh, Carl, you're drawing. Carl slides up to him before chuckling quietly. Oh yeah, for some reason I thought it would be gone by now. Why would it be? You chipped it in the rock. Didn't you spend a month doing that? Carl looks down at his paws. Heh, yeah, fucked up my paws doing it too. I move around and stand next to him, seeing the rough outline of a muscular wolf with a long cape. So wait, you chipped the rock with your, like, hooves? No, wait. Did he say paws or hooves? Maybe he does have those, like, tiny little hooves at the end of his fingers. Super Wolf. I've always been obsessed with that superhero since the new movie was coming out that summer. I don't think he liked it very much, because right after he saw it, he stopped working on the etching. It's actually pretty good, especially when you consider that Carl was like 9 when he did it. Push those memories out of my head, wiping out the smiling childhood face of Carl from my mind. Then I steel myself, preparing for what I'm going to say, and for what's about to happen. Hey, look at the sand underneath it. Everyone looks down in unison at where I'm pointing my finger. I let it sink in for a moment before I say it. The dirt. Looks like someone dug it up recently. No one says anything. Or maybe the sand's just wetter there? I don't know. TJ kneels down next to the boulder, reaching out a paw to steady himself against it, as Julian kneels down across from him. So wait, it was under the boulder, not in a crack of it? I'm gonna guess. He reaches out with the other paw, poking at the loose-looking dirt, slightly darker than the sand around it. Still, no one says anything, and I decide not to push it further, knowing they've already planted the seed of doubt in TJ's mind. We should have grabbed a garden shovel from the house, Carl. Yeah. I pick up the flat rock I used last night. Here. I hand it to Julian. He looks at it for a second before digging the sharp end into the dirt. It sinks in deep and easily before the stag turns out the sand. Less than a minute later, TJ gasps and reaches into the shallow hole, pulling out the lunchbox. Now that there's daylight, I can see the chipped green paint on the dragon. TJ holds it for a moment, staring down at it. Julian looks around at us. Was that Sydney's? I can't remember, but TJ nods with shaky hands, unlatches the metal clasps. Carl stands further back from the rest of us, motionless. Jenna, once again, has a paw to her mouth, not saying anything. TJ opens the lid. The hinges squeak a little as the tin lid flops open, revealing my note. Paws still shaking, TJ reaches in. At this point, there's still little hesitation in TJ's movements. There's little? Okay. He's eager to find out what it says, eager to get this done. TJ unfolds the note, then reads it. He doesn't read it aloud, instead letting his eyes go back and forth over the page while the rest of us wait. I know at this point he'd finished reading it, but he still doesn't say anything, eyes glued to the page. TJ? TJ doesn't say anything, continues to stare. So I'm feeling like this is going to be a thing where either it's going to implicate somebody, or it's going to implicate me, who is also a somebody. TJ, what does it say? Or it could also be a throwaway line that's like, congratulations, go fuck yourselves. I am dead. TJ sits there for a few more seconds before he wordlessly holds out the note to no one in particular. His face blank for the most part, but I can see the shock in his eyes. Julian takes it from him and starts reading. You've reached the end, but I don't have the answer, so I'll ask you again. TJ, what happened to Sydney? There's silence that follows. The silence that follows is one of the heaviest that I've ever experienced. Carl's still frozen, but now he's looking up at Julian. Jenna moved her paw from her mouth at this point, but she clutched her necklace, her eyes on TJ. Julian is just staring at the links, waiting, probably unsure of what any of this means. TJ, meanwhile, stares at the hole that we dug up, his paws laying limp on his lap, ears drooping. I start walking over to him. What does it mean? Do you guys know? The rest of the paw. I rest my paw on TJ's shoulder, touching it softly. He doesn't move. I crouch down next to him, slowly wrapping an arm around his shoulders, drawing him in. I know you did it. I can feel him trembling. Guys? I look over at Julian, with a sad look on my face. We have a friend who has a grudge about this whole thing. I think he might have been the one leaving the notes. TJ shakes his head against me, but doesn't say anything. Julian stares. But why? I shrug, beginning to stroke the top of TJ's head. Julian looks from me to TJ. I don't know. Maybe he thought it was the last chance to hurt TJ somehow? I really don't know. Jenna and Carl have walked up to stand next to us, and both seem to have lost for words. The paper is different, though. TJ's voice is distant and faint, muffled against my chest. There are ways to make paper look old. Maybe he just didn't have the time with this one. Julian shakes his head. Listen, I've only been part of this for a day, but this is crazy. And those are a lot of assumptions. Do you really know what happened? If you knew this friend of ours like we do, you'd understand how obvious this is. But then Jenna shakes her head as well. No, Flynn wouldn't do this. He's a jerk, but he wouldn't do this. You know that Flynn's been sending TJ threatening texts all week, and that he's been out to fuck with TJ since we got here. Jenna shakes her head again, but doesn't say anything. He wouldn't. I stand my gaze at Carl, glaring. Dude, even at his worst, he'd never do something like this. It's too fucked up. All of that work just to fuck with us, and it has to do with Sydney? No. And who found the first note? Who'd been Flynn's best friend since we all left? Whoa, Chase. Carl's eyes go wide. TJ finally lifts his head, looking up at Carl. You're the one that gave it to us. Send us off on this whole bullshit scavenger hunt. Carl takes a step back, mouth hanging open, looking at me like I'm some sort of alien or something. This entire thing was fucking crazy from the start. Our dead friend, who left notes behind a decade ago, and somehow it's all still there? In the old school? In that house? Fuck that. Chase, stop it. Jen's voice is soft and distant, lacking any sort of authority. I stand up, suddenly staring the ram down. What? How? No. Wait, he does have little hooves on the end of his fingers. I knew it. I think. Carl takes another step back, and I can see his chest heaving. He can't even get his words out. Like he's just run a marathon and can't catch his breath. Huh? I don't. Carl clutches his chest and can't help but notice how fucking guilty he looks right now. He suddenly retches and gags loudly. Carl, breathe. No, you can't use your fucking anxiety. I make air quotes. You monster. As a shield right now, did Flynn put you up to this? Carl retches again and doubles over, spitting on the ground. Carl. Jenna starts walking up toward the ram, but at that moment, something rushes past me, then past Jenna. I have a moment to see TJ's back. His tufted ears are laid flat against his head, like he's moved so fast that the wind has pushed them back. There's another quick movement that I can't quite see from my angle. But then Carl's stumbling back, a paw up to his face, letting out a gasp like he's been holding his breath for 10 minutes. I lunge forward, reaching out for TJ as the cat goes in for another swipe. What the fuck is going on? Is TJ going after Carl? Carl jumps back towards the embankment, and as he does, he lands on many rocks that separate the beach from the road. I grab the back of TJ's shirt, just as I see Carl's hoof disappear between rocks. Then Carl falls back. Ooh. There's a sound like a thick branch snapping in two, cutting through the air like a gunshot. Immediately, Carl lets out the most hideous scream I've ever heard a ram make. No! Jenna runs past us, followed by Julian and more even jog. Meanwhile, I hold on to TJ, the lynx still going after Carl, making a yowling sound as his claws swipe at the air, baring his teeth. He's wild. Feral. Not thinking at all. From Chase. TJ, stop. I'm here. I try talking in the lynx's ear, and at that same time I feel him starting to go limp in my grasp, the energy and rage slowly going out of him. I finally feel safe enough to turn him around, pulling him into a hug. It's okay. You got him. You're fine. TJ looks toward Carl one last time, watching the ram roll back and forth on his back, choking, howling, and screaming all at once. Oh my god. TJ suddenly turns to face into my chest and starts to cry. Jesus, his ankle. Carl, can you move? But Carl isn't listening, continuing to scream and hyperventilate at the same time. Call an ambulance. I don't know who she's talking to, but Julian pulls out his phone. TJ continues to sob into my chest and starts to move away towards the trail, pulling TJ with me. And I start to move away. I'm taking Tej back to the motel. Yes, leave, please. Jenna snarls at me over her shoulder. Hi, we need paramedics. Yeah, someone here tripped and broke their leg, and now he can't get up. Carl, I know it hurts, but you need to breathe. I'm going to count. Jenna's voice fades away as I start fast walking towards the trail, pulling the sobbing TJ along with me. TJ finally pulls away from me. Then we reach the parking lot and starts walking ahead, hugging himself. I follow behind him at a close distance, listening to him sob for a while. It isn't until we reach the road that he finally calmed down enough to stop sobbing. I walk quietly behind him for a while, a bit longer before finally catching up, walking next to him. He doesn't say anything and goes on hugging himself, hiccuping softly every once in a while. I wonder if I should say anything, ask him about what happened, or even change the subject completely. Eventually, though, he's the one to speak first. Hey, train's on. I missed the train. I didn't mean to... He cuts off as he goes into a coughing fit. I rub him on the back gently. It's okay. You don't have to explain yourself after what he did. Geez, we're just all going, or at least I'm just going like, yeah, it's all Carl's fault. Carl did all this. Do you think... TJ takes a deep breath, finally settling his words. Do you think he really did that? I let the silence drag on for a moment before finally replying, Yes, he did. We should kill him tonight. Who else could it have been? I completely understand why he went along with all those notes, but in the end, this was only a realistic conclusion we were going to get to. Yeah. I just didn't think they'd do something like this, especially Carl. TJ says Carl's name softly. I still don't know if he did it, but then I remember what he said when we played Spin the Bottle. I felt like it had to be him. Oh yeah, that. I was just so angry. I've never been so angry in my life. It was scary. I mean, maybe Flynn didn't tell him everything about what was going on. I guess he could have been tricked into thinking Flynn somehow had good intentions in all this. I don't know. His leg. TJ covers his face like he's about to start crying again. I quickly put my arm around him and hold him close. Hey, this isn't your fault. Honestly, he deserved that scratch you gave him. He fell on his own. TJ shakes his head. I can't even remember what happened. I just started running at him like I wasn't in control. It was like I was all automatic or something. Him too? TJ. I stop the links and turn him towards me, even though he keeps covering up his face. This is not your fault. What Flynn and Carl did to you is absolutely disgusting, and honestly, I'm amazed that you were able to hold yourself back as much as you did. But the sounds he's making, it sounds so awful. TJ's face screws up under his paws. I hug him again. No, he only had a taste of the pain you're feeling on the inside. Now stop thinking about him. It's over. This whole thing is over. TJ starts crying softly again, and I hold him closer, letting him get out of his system. Over his shoulder, I can see the ambulance lights flashing. They were quick. Though they don't have the siren on, because he's dead already. Also, here's the thing. This is supposed to be a small town of like less than 100, a couple hundred people. There's no way that there's an ambulance anywhere close by. Like I lived in a town of maybe a couple 5,000 or something like that. And I think it was like, yeah, the local ambulance was absolute shite. You'd have to go to the next town over to get anything good. I'm thankful for that, at least. My phone buzzes in my pocket a few times, but I ignore it, waiting until the link's soft sobs taper out. I turn him away from the lake, and he doesn't see the lights. Turn him away from the lake so he doesn't see the lights. Keep walking slowly up the road. But wait, isn't there a lake and on the other... Between the lake and the beach would be a road, so if you turn him away from the water, then he would see the road and the ambulance. Less than a mile away, the motel sign glints in the sunlight. TJ shuffles along, continuing his quiet shuffling. Do you want to leave today? I don't know. Maybe. Well, let's get back to the motel and sit down for a while, okay? Then we can decide what we want to do. Okay. His breathing evens out again, and we get close to the motel. But why do you think Flynn would do that? It doesn't make any sense. I shrug. Well, like I said yesterday, I think now that he knows he isn't going to get any answers he wants. He's just out to hurt us somehow. That's it, really. You're right. I guess I just didn't think he could be capable of that. I mean, you always see the best in people. There's nothing wrong with that. TJ doesn't respond, and we're silent for the rest of the way there. And with us being pretty much a 30-minute mark and all that, I think it's a good time to call it. You know, with us saying that Carl is the murderer, or, you know, the person that put it up, and that Flynn's the murderer, / person that did it, and then him attacking him, and her being pissed at all of us, except for him because she doesn't believe us, and Leo being completely out of the picture somehow because he's busy with work. Comacho. Anyways, that's gonna be the end of this Let's Play. So comment, because I like comments, how much you like, dislike, tips, tricks. Otherwise, if you like me YouTube and like see grow, then please like, subscribe, and check out the videos I've grown. Please remember to spay your animals that control the pet population. And if you want to play this game, it's on HIO for free. And if you want to support the people that make this game, then they are on Patreon. What is Arches? I was just looking like, hey, when we finish this route, are we going to continue on or what? But then I was like, well, after this would probably be Route 35. But then there's Arches. It seems a bit more cartoony looking. Okay, so Route 35 is the same cast. Well, we'll take a look at this a bit later. They make Carl look much more like a stoner in that one. Well, maybe not much more like a stoner. Let's just compare what he looked like, you know, when he wasn't having his leg broken. Okay, there he looks very much like a stoner. In this other picture, I don't know, kind of like a dude bro. I'm not sure what a dude bro would be, but then Arches is a completely different cast, I guess. And sad looking guys. But yeah. Oh right, the breaking of the leg. Anyways, until next time, on another Let's Play, me, GamerWolfSix of Echo. Oh, what do you want to do? Maybe just take out another series for us to do that? Or, actually, I'll have to think about that later. When I want to have Silas somewhere else. Oh well, thanks, see ya.